Hi there! Welcome to Isabel Explains. In this video, I will show you how to graph linear equations using 3 different methods. You ready? Let's go! Before we jump into the methods, I want to first point out the 4 features that a linear equation has that makes it, well, a linear equation. First, they all have an infinite amount of points, one of them being the x-intercept, one of them being the y-intercept, and all of them forming this slope. Now, I want to make clear right off the bat that the slope is not a point, okay? The slope is formed by the points. The slope is simply the number we give to the level of inclination of the line. Think of it as that number on the treadmill, right? Like if the slope is 0, that means that there's no inclination, therefore the line is flat. But if the slope is a large number, then the line is steep, right? And if the slope is a small number, then the line won't be so steep. So if the slope is a positive number, it will go up from left to right. And if the slope is a negative number, then it will go down from left to right. Another quick side note is that all linear equations will have both an x-intercept and a y-intercept unless the slope is equal to 0, in which case the line will only have a y-intercept, or if the slope is undefined, in which case there will only be an x-intercept. But we'll talk about those later in more detail. All right, let's check out the 3 methods. Number 1, the slope-intercept form. For this method, the linear equation will be written as y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Hence why we call it the slope-intercept form. Get it? All right, let's go to the board and graph one. So let's suppose that you have y equals -1/2 x plus 6, right? And we said that this is going to be in the format of y equals mx plus b, meaning that the m is going to be the slope and the b is going to be the y-intercept. So what this is going to represent then is that the slope is going to be -1/2 and the y-intercept is going to be +6. If this was a negative number or minus sign, you would have had -6. But first thing I am going to do is I am going to plot in the y-intercept. And what is the y-intercept? It's simply a point on the y-axis, right? So I'm gonna go 6 up from the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll be right here. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to move. So because this is negative, one of the two has to be negative, right? We know that the slope is the rise over the run, right? So either it's going to be -1/2 or it is going to be 1/-2. It's the exact same thing. It's up to you. Just know that if the top is positive, it is going to move up. If it is negative, it's going to move down. And if the bottom is positive, it's going to move to the right. And if it is negative, it is going to move to the left. So let's test them out. So we have -1 at the top, meaning it's going to move 1 down, and 2 positive, so it's going to move 2 to the right. So it's going to be 1, 2. Here's my next point. If I do this version, which is the exact same thing, I'm going to move 1 up and 2 to the left, right? And as you can see, they're starting to line up. If I continue that pattern, 1 up, 2 to the left, there we go, 1 up, 2 to the left, it's going to continue the exact same pattern. And if I go 1 down, 2 to the right, same thing, right? So all that we have to do now is just graph it. Now keep in mind that you have to write it with the little arrows on the end because it is actually infinite. It is going to be continuing forever and ever and ever. And that is it. That is how you graph a line written in the slope-intercept form. Number 2, point-slope form. In this method, the linear equation will be written as y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1 close parentheses. And just like the name suggests, it gives us a point and the slope of the line. Let's go ahead and graph one of those. So let's suppose you have y minus 5 equals 2/3 parentheses x plus 2 close parentheses. Now keep in mind that the equation is written as y minus y1 equals m, which is still the slope, times x minus x1. So the first thing I want you to be cautious about is that you're going to have to flip the sign of whichever number you have here. So technically you have a -5, but because the equation is minus y1, what you really have is a +5. Okay, that's the first thing I want you to keep in mind. And here we have the exact same thing, but backwards. So we have an x plus 2. So I want you to think of it as an x minus -2, because that is what the equation calls for. Now, what is this y1, x1 stuff? Well, simple. All it is a point in that line. All right, these are the coordinates, the x and the y coordinates of a point in the line. So that means that we have, if our x is equal to -2 and our y is equal to +5, that means that we have a point at -2, 5 in that line. So let's find that point. 1, 2 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. Now, the slope is telling us that it is 2/3, which means that we're going to move up 2, 3 to the right, because they're both positive, right? So we move 1, 2 up, 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2 up, 1, 2, 3 to the right. Now I ran out of space here, so what I can do then is think of them as both negative, because -2/-3 is also 2/3, right? So I'm just gonna go 2 down, 1, 2 down, 1, 2, 3 to the left, 1, 2 down, 1, 2, 3 to the left, 1, 2 down, 1, 2, 3 to the left, and then we just graph it. Bam, and there you have it. That's how you graph a point-slope form. Number 3, the standard form. In this method, the equation will be written as ax plus by equals c, but unlike the other two, a, b, or c don't really represent anything specific in the graph. However, this equation is really useful to find the x and the y intercepts. The formula, which I never encourage you to memorize, says that c/b equals the y-intercept and c/a equals the x-intercept. But instead of memorizing this, how about we find out why this is? Let's go to the board one last time. Last one. Let's suppose you have 2x minus 3y equals 12. Well, I mentioned that this is very handy to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, because really what you need is 2 points to graph any line, right? Any linear function, all you need is 2 points. So let's try doing that. If you've seen my videos before, you know that the x-intercept is found by making the y equal to 0, and the y-intercept is found by making the x equal to 0, right? So let's do that. So let's make the x equal to 0 to find the y-intercept. So we have 2 times 0 minus 3y is equal to 12. Well, this is going to be 0, so we're just going to be left with -3y equals 12. And if we divide by -3 on both sides, we get that y is equal to -4. That means that our y-intercept is going to be -4. So we find it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. Now let's do the x-intercept. So what we're going to do is make the y equal to 0. So if we have 2x minus 3 times 0 equals to 12, this becomes 0, so we have that 2x is equal to 12. If we divide by 2 on both sides, we get that x is equal to 6. So we have then that the x-intercept is on 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. And that's really all you need. All you need is 2 points to graph the line. So here we have it. And that is it. That is how you graph an equation written in standard form. Now, before we finish this video, let's talk very quickly about what happens when you encounter something like this or like this. Well, very simple. When we have an equation of just y equals to a number, in this case 5, we can think of it 2 ways. We can think of it as the form y equals mx plus b, where the m would be 0, or we can think of a line where all the values of y are 5. So this would just be a straight horizontal line passing through the y-intercept of 5. In the case of x equal to a number, in this case -4, we gotta think of a straight line where all the values of x are going to be equal to -4. And now what we have is a straight vertical line passing through the x-intercept of -4. In this case, the slope is undefined because you can't set up your treadmill to be vertical because you're just gonna fall off. Unless you're Spider-Man, but shout out to Peter Parker. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if there's another math or science topic that you'd like me to make a video about, just go ahead and tell me in the comments or email me at isabelexplains@gmail.com. I'll see you next time.